If you've ever thought our modern justice system can be a little bit dramatic, just wait till you hear about the Tudors. This was a period when people went to public executions the way we go to music festivals, snacks, gossip, and all. The Tudors didn't just punish criminals, they put on a show, and it wasn't just the truly wicked who found themselves in trouble. Gossip too much? You could end up in a scold's bridle. Sell dodgy bread? Straight to the pillory for you. Commit treason? Well, you might just want to start practicing your last words. So settle in, get cozy, grab some coffee or some water, and let's get started. Today, we are diving into Tudor punishments and executions. The strange, the theatrical, and the can you believe this actually happened? Moments of justice, 16th century style. Hey friend, welcome back to the YouTube channel for the Renaissance English History Podcast. I am your host, Heather. I've been podcasting on Tudor England since 2009 with my show, which unbelievably kind of makes me the original Tudor history podcaster. I am, as always, just delighted that you are here with me on a rainy Monday. Well, it's rainy where I am, rainy Monday, to talk about a really light subject, Tudor crime and punishment and execution style. So let's get started, my friend. The Tudors didn't exactly believe in rehabilitation. Their logic was simple. If people saw something horrifying enough, they would think twice before copying it. Fear was the glue that held order together. Executions and punishments were public entertainment. They took place in busy squares, outside city gates, or on bridges where everyone could watch. Parents would even bring their children along because apparently nothing says family bonding like a good hanging before lunch. Ugh. Punishment wasn't about cruelty for cruelty's sake. It was performance art. The condemned were expected to give a very dramatic final speech, apologizing for giving their enemies and praying for the king's good health. The goal was moral instruction and a solid afternoon's amusement all rolled into one. So let's talk about some of these punishments. The most iconic one, beheading. If you were highborn, your punishment came with a touch of luxury. The clean and sharp beheading. It was considered merciful, quick, dignified, and generally reserved for nobles. Of course, quick all depended on the skill of your executioner. There was Margaret Pole's nightmare execution. But Anne Boleyn got the royal treatment, a French swordsman specifically imported because Henry wanted it done neatly. They say it was a last gesture of the recognition of what Anne meant to him, which is deeply unsettling and problematic. For the Tudors, executions were also fashion events. The condemned would dress with care, Anne in gray damask, Lady Jane Grey in black velvet. They would make speeches, forgive their enemies, arrange their skirts just so before kneeling. If you had to die publicly, you might as well die gracefully. Kind of reminds me, didn't Hitler's wife, she was his wife by then, say that she wanted to be a beautiful bride, and so that was why she chose poison, so she could still be a beautiful bride. It's very grim. It's very grim. All right, let's move on. Hanging, drawing, and quartering, the full Tudor experience. Now, if you were a commoner accused of treason, the Tudors didn't do things by half measures. Hanging, drawing, and quartering was the full theatrical production. It was meant to say, don't even think about rebelling. I'll spare you the details, but let's just say it involved a sequence of events that could have been written by someone who really needed to get out more. It was usually carried out in the major cities, Smithfield, Tyburn, York, and it would draw enormous crowds. The message, of course, was not subtle. This is what happened when you messed with the crown. But to a Tudor audience, it wasn't always horror. I mean, to most people it was. But for some, it was patriotism with popcorn. Now let's move on to boiling alive, because yes, that actually happened. Just when you think Tudor punishments couldn't get any more dramatic, Henry VIII said, "Hold my goblet." In 1531, after a poisoner killed several people, Henry decided that poisoning was such a sneaky crime it deserved its own special punishment, being boiled alive. And yes, that is exactly what it sounds like. One unlucky cook named Richard Roos was made an example of at Smithfield, where people gathered to watch the pot bubble. Reports say the crowd cheered. Tudor London was basically a reality show with fewer safety regulations. Fortunately, this law didn't stick around for too long. Even Parliament seemed to collectively go, "Hey, Henry, are you okay?" and quietly never enforced it again. A rare moment of restraint? Next, stocks, pillories, and the brutal power of public humiliation. Not every punishment involved mortal danger. Sometimes the Tudors preferred humiliation because nothing terrifies a Tudor like the judgmental stare of their neighbors. For small offenses, selling short measures at the market, public drunkenness, slandering someone, you could find yourself locked in the stocks or pillory with your head and hands sticking through wooden boards. The real danger wasn't the device itself, it was the crowd. People brought old vegetables, mud, and occasionally something far less pleasant to throw at you. This was community participation at its finest. Think of it as a 16th century version of going viral for all the wrong reasons, except instead of angry comments, it was physical tomatoes. Now let's talk about some creative punishments: ducking stools, scold's bridles, and minding your tone. Tudor society had some very specific ideas about how people, especially women, should behave. If a woman was labeled a scold, meaning she was outspoken, nagged, or simply had opinions, she could be sentenced to a scold's bridle, a metal cage fitted on the head with a bar that pressed down on the tongue to prevent speaking. Effective, if not exactly subtle. And yes, women would die from that because they couldn't breathe properly at night. Another favorite was the ducking stool. The accused was strapped to a chair and dunked repeatedly in water while the town would jeer. This wasn't about justice, my friend. This was about reminding everybody who controlled the social script. Watching these punishments, you get the sense that the Tudors invented petty, gave it a throne, and crowned it with public ceremony. Let's finish up with fear, theater, and a good day out. For all the drama and horror, Tudor punishments weren't just about pain. They were entertainment, cautionary tale, and community gathering all rolled into one. Vendors sold ale, crowds debated justice like it was a sport, and condemned people sometimes achieved minor celebrity status on their way to the scaffold. It's a reminder that Tudor justice wasn't done quietly behind prison walls. It was loud, it was public, and it was meant to make sure that everyone saw what happened to those who stepped out of line. So we will leave it there, my friend. Thank you so much for watching and spending this time with me. If you made it to the end of this video and enjoyed it, I sure would appreciate a press of that like button. It helps to feed that algorithm and get our content to more people, and I hope I earned your subscription to my channel where I put out content like this on the regular. If you want to keep watching crime and punishment style videos, here's one on true crime stories from Tudor England. You might enjoy that. Here's a video that YouTube thinks you'll enjoy. Remember, you are deeply loved. I am so glad I shared the planet with you. You make the planet a better place, and I'm grateful we got to spend this time together. I will be back very soon. In the meantime, don't forget to drink your water. Bye-bye, friend.